and beyond. So today I am happy to welcome one of my good friends, a long-time friend for that matter, to this particular conversation. Mr. Oretimehin, it's good to have you. You're welcome to the Organized Concert and Seminar series.
Thank you, Mr. Ayorinde. Thank you for having me.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
Shortly, Mr. Oretimehin will introduce himself. I'm going to hand over the baton to him. But before that, just for a while, I just want you to understand the format of this conversation. I and Mr. Oretimehin, we are going to have a dialogue. We call it conversation. And we are going to explore issues around the new emerging, landscape of Nigerian creative industry, particularly the one that has to do with music. And I'm talking about the theater, musical theater in Nigeria. As some of us know, this is not, it's a recent phenomenon, but it's also rooted or anchored by a long-standing tradition. I'm sure we all know about the Ogunde theater show back to 1940s to 50s. We also know, we have also read, or some of us have experienced the Yoruba Alarinjo theater. And by the 50s and the 60s, the Ogundes, Babasalas were already producing films in celluloid. I mean film, not home video. So please take note of that. In celluloid, years before we now have what we know today and what we are very proud of today as Nollywood. So let's just keep it that way. So I am happy to welcome you and to have every one of you, particularly some of our friends who are regular on this platform. As you know, we engage issues across, diverse areas, including music and politics, music education, African arts music, classical music, popular music, gospel music, as well as, of course, the music and in relation to theater or Nollywood or film or, everyday production, of course. So I'm happy that you are here today. And after the conversation with Mr. Oretimehin, I would definitely be happy to open the platform for us to engage. In case you have questions, you have things you want to ask him, you have issues that you need clarification on, Mr. Oretimehin is here. So kindly take your note and follow us as we have the conversation. And when it's time for Q&A, I will be happy to invite you to ask questions, contribute also. Don't forget, this is a free platform for engagement. So you are free to engage, to discuss. It's a free space. Thank you so much. So back to Mr. Oretimehin. So today, first of all, I really want you to introduce yourself to our friends, particularly some who are joining us for the first time. Let them know about your work, what you are doing, Just introduce yourself to our friends.
All right. Hello, everybody watching at home, wherever you are watching from. My name is Kehinde Oretimehin, a.k.a. Omokabiyesi. On my music scores, I put SK Ore. So a lot of people have seen my scores, they've performed my works, and maybe the first time you are seeing the face of the composer. So I am SK Ore. I write songs like for a living, and I train voices. I teach music theory, music history. Presently, I'm the most sought after music director come composer for every musical theater productions in Nigeria.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let's dive into the process. So I have a few questions for you, and again, you are welcome to explore it as you in your own way. So I think I'm going to take it one by one, and we are going to engage. And also in the process, I might need to interrupt you but be free, or just enjoy. Let's enjoy the process. So the first one is how will you describe the music theater landscape in Lagos, particularly in the last 20 years?
Actually, maybe before 20 years,
okay,
before modernization evolved in Nigeria, I wouldn't say a lot about them because we were not documenting most of all these things. the ones we mentioned earlier, the Ogunde Theatre, there were other ones that were not, that were not fortunate enough to be documented. But to my knowledge, we found executive producers, people who maybe pitied the musical theater or the theater industry in Nigeria, or who decided to invest in it. So we have stakeholders. We have the rich people, maybe from the government, churches, and individual companies, coming in to spend their own hard-earned currency to support the theater. That is why someone like me can have a job. I can resign from a full-time teaching job into musical theater, where I can be able to afford little money to feed my family. The emergence of terror culture, Bolanle Hospital's production, the influence of that woman cannot be overemphasized. The woman started, maybe before her involvement in musical theater, people just think that the theater people are just here and there. But when she came, the elites now come into play. They see how interesting and interested we can be. And now we have musical theater everywhere. Before you let December come, you see posters everywhere, different kind of musical theater. And I'm happy because my colleagues are seeing jobs. They're becoming relevant in the society.
Do you mean before Austin Peterson, there were no jobs?
I can't say there were jobs. And I cannot say there were no jobs. But what I'm saying is that, for example, like football, some of these ex-footballers always say that before they see footballers as poor man's children trying to, because they are not so brilliant in school. Like when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, most footballers in the school team cannot be a science student because you have biology, yada, yada, yada. But now that you've seen the elites play football, the children of the politicians, of the high-class people playing football, the value is high. Ms. Bola Hospital is not from the lower class, not even in the middle class. So the taste, the color, the timbre, the texture she has brought into the industry has attracted even, so many companies from US, from UK, they are coming in now to invest in Nigerian musical theater. I wouldn't say we didn't have some people coming to invest in Nigeria, but I believe the influence of the elite, money is important. So the influence of the elite, and she invested her money. A lot of people came in, invested their money and backed down, but she did not. Because I worked with her, and I still work with her, so I know I'm privy to that information. And she spent her money, and she's still spending her money. So money is very, very important. Because in other sites, in other climes, I can say they have grants, they have loans, they have government support. I have never seen, for my over 20 years in the music and theater industry, I've never seen any government support from anywhere.
My question was, where were they working before the emergence of the industry? Although we're still going to discuss that.
Like I said, I was teaching.
Okay.
I was teaching. And I remember we both shared some curriculum together, the English music, yada, yada. Yeah. I was teaching. Because I realized that theater job, before you get paid, yada, 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 and it's stressful. But I remember Ms. Bolanle Hospital's paying Riaza fee back as 2013, 5,000 naira, which nobody can match as we speak. We want to give about 155,000 per day. I mean, per day. Ms. Bolanle Hospital feeds people every day. Over 150 cast and crew members will be housed for 1 week for productions. We people don't do. She put us in luxury hotels, so that you come back to the show days refreshed. Before people's I used to partner with people. I said, the struggle, they borrow money from us for transport fare, yada, yada, yada. Even the costuming. I mean, plenty money inside musical theater now. One of the musical theater coming up, I will invite you to come and see. You see costume, the lights, it's expensive.
Of course.
To maintain.
Of course. We are definitely going to discuss that in the process. I just want clarification on that. Okay, perhaps the next one or the other questions will bring us back to that, and I will remind you when we get to that section, definitely. So what I have here now is, you are known for many things. I remember, I think I've known you now within this music business, and for more than 25 years. Yeah, the Muson Babadekunle days, Muson graded exam, and since then a few days ago I was just reflecting. Wow, this man has grown, from singer, doing theory together, doing all those stuff together, and thank God for Muzan, of course. Yeah, but you've done a lot of things. You have transformed, you've done a lot in terms of musical performance. You are a composer, you are a teacher, you are this and that, like to use your word. So can you briefly tell us about your motivation or entry into this business, into this field or career?
Oh, all right. So, growing up in our days, once you have A's in your GSS3 WAEC, you don't have any say, they just put you in science class. No matter how frivolous you are, no matter how interesting you sound, no matter how beautiful or handsome you are, no matter how tall or short, no matter your background, those days just put you. And in my language, they say, I want to know when here, science no my law, that these are the brilliant ones, they are our scientists. I used to blame them when I realized that that was the knowledge back then. But now people are beginning to see that the talent of every child really matters. So I was brilliant in secondary school, so to say, because we were privileged to have over 70 and above or 80 above in core courses, and they put me in science student. But I remember that my father used to sing, bless his soul, and my mother, back then in the early 80s, 83, 84, 85, I used to follow her to the church where they used to have anthem, like convention anthem in all those things in churches. And they will commission her to write anthems for them in Yoruba. And she will just, it is now I know the essence of that. I used to hear her when she used to sing all those songs. Some of them, when she's sleeping, the songs will come to her in the dreams. Wow. And then my older ones, then I couldn't write them down. Which when it was my turn, myself and my two sisters would write down the songs she used to sing from her dreams. So I would say it's inbuilt. I got it from my parents, bless their souls, they are both late. So then the church, from Celestial Church, where, I went to Celestial, yeah. Every first Sunday of June, the children, Ikuri I used to lead the altar, And Celestial Church, the music there is not just anyhow, it's spontaneous. So we just wake up and start singing about Jesus, singing about life. That's why I got my language from, my Yoruba language, which has distinctively, set me aside from my other colleagues, other composers. And then now joining Deeper Life when I was 9, and Deeper Life to Deeper Life. So you can imagine. So I already had the Yoruba spontaneity where you can just stand up and start hailing Jesus. Just, you just sing without stop. You just keep on singing, then another beat coming, then the drum, then the saxophone solo, then umele, yada yada. Then to Deeper Life, where Pastor Kumi was in charge of everything. Oh. Yeah. The music should be this way, the choir should be this way, So I learned discipline, proper preparations from there. That's where I got introduced to classical music, to music reading. Unfortunately for me, I met, if not the best music teacher that God created, Professor Alberto Ikelume. Then it wasn't the professor, it was just Mr. Albert, Brother Albert used to call him. That guy was phenomenal. I mean, he comes to rehearsal every day and we will learn 10 songs. Children were over 500 from all over Nigeria. I don't know how we gathered those, And we were controlled. And he will teach us, he will put us in parts, he will play cassettes, those days of cassettes. We will listen to it. And as you are listening, you are scoring out your parts. So my hearing is top notch. There is no music that I cannot hear. That's what helps me in my orchestral composition, because I can hear the oboe, I can hear the clarinet, I can quickly decipher and split the violins without being taught. I didn't go abroad to learn like you people professors that went to learn the... No. It was just what I learned from Albert. And then my coming to Muzon Center, I was fortunate enough to be part of the very first set of the school where we had people that met Tchaikovsky.
Before the Muzon diploma, I met you. I know you before Muzon diploma. So
yeah.
Those years, what about those years? Yes. Of grade 1, grade 2?
So it was Deeper Life that presented me in 1995, 1996, to go to Muzon to write exams. In Deeper Life, we had our own theory. That's why I said, Professor Albert arranged everything like God would have done it. Such that if you're in Yaba, you have your teachers, you have your graded, we had everything controlled. So that the discipline was already imbibed, the interest, and we were enjoying it. Every day, when I sleep on Thursday, I was already dreaming of Saturday so that I could go to rehearsal in Bagada to see the maestro pour out virtues upon me and my other colleagues. So from there, we started coming to Luzon. I got exposed to children competition. I started teaching, bringing children to competitions. And then as I joined the Luzon choir with Mr. Emeka Nwokedi conducting, I was wowed when I saw the ways.
Were you in the Abadekunle's
Voices.
before Muson choir?
Yes. I was, Babadekunle had these choral voices where we sang only choral songs, only choral pieces. Nothing African, nothing Nigerian. You know, top-notch singing. Babadekunle will not let any voice go up or down. Strictly singing, you know. So it's just bit of this, bit of this, bit of this. And then the diploma started. And then, like I said, I was lucky to be part of the very first set where the whites were still around. We had German teachers, we had Italian teachers, we had French teachers, we had Polish, we had Russian. We met Maria Shiva, right?
Definitely.
So we met people that we analytically divulge knowledge into us. Then my indigenous learning from deeper life, from living in Mushin, Fuji music, and Adlibin and all these things, those ones were inborn that can never be taken away. Yep. Now polished and refined by Polish and Russians and Germans and Italians, and Mrs. Maria Nakwata, Mrs. Edna Shoyonwu. Those women are phenomenal. You know, we cannot overemphasize their influence in music education in Nigeria because they started teaching music far back as of Nigerian independence. So they know everywhere, even though they are non-Nigerians.
Yeah, thank you so much. But as mentioned earlier, so from Muson, then what happened? Of course, from Muson is not a place of musical theater. It's not a place of, and of course, we all know Muson. Muson is a place for classical music. Beethoven, and you are taught in a way that, you know, you must write, you must follow the 4-bar phrasing, the cadential point, you must resolve, no double of third, all those things. You know, sorry for our colleagues. Don't mind, pardon me, we are going technical into our own secret life, you know. So let's come back to the to the people right now. So the point here is that Muson, musical theater wasn't in Muson in terms of course, in terms of, you know, but Muson has a kind of layers of operatic performances which are quite, you know, embedded in the classical madrigals, all those things that people do. So how do you come? When did you enter, or what motivated you into this line that you are, you know, driving today, this particular lane you are today?
All right. So I would say I've been very lucky and fortunate to be in a class of serious set of the Muson School of Music. My classmates are professors in the making because the entry level was grade 8. So I was one of the lowest because I think I came in with grade 5, and then 1 year after I had my grade 8 before we now started the diploma school. So my best friend, Ayorinde, was the music director for Terra Culture, now Bolanle Hospital's production. Then as a songwriter, he used to accompany me, he used to accompany most of my songs. We used to travel the whole of Nigeria together for shows and yada, yada, yada. Ayorinde is phenomenal. He's a very good arranger, very good music director, and a fantastic organist. You know, top-notch music personality. So he introduced me to the musical theater, and I adapted. How did I adapt? While I was at
How did
he
introduce you?
He was the music director for Saro the Musical.
Okay.
And then one of my songs, Mamba Gbemi.
Sorry, before we proceed, let's clear something, right? Mm-hmm. Is Saro the first official musical or Kakadu?
I wouldn't know. I think it was Kakadu.
Kakadu?
Yeah, because I believe some of them, during that Saro Rehearsal, you were talking about when they were together in Kakadu.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
So Saro was produced...
2013.
Saro was produced in 2013. And
yeah.
Kakadu was...
Maybe 2013, earlier, or 2012.
Earlier.
Yeah, maybe earlier.
Okay.
Because I remember some of the actors from Kakadu was discussing. I'm not so sure. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. So he introduced me to, please, Kenny, come and join my rehearsal. So I joined his rehearsal, I met people, I saw it. It was easy for me because growing up, I've always watched musical theater productions of the whites.
Yeah, definitely.
Back then, I knew about the sound of music. I knew about Oklahoma. I knew about the King and I. I think we shared that.
I remember, of course, when I was working
together.
at Grace
Yeah,
Spring,
Grace
I
Spring School.
shared the King and I
Yeah,
score
with
with
me.
you.
Yeah. So because I think I had the video and you gave me the score, I remember now. So I've already, before I even got introduced to musical theater, I've learned, because if you want to do Ibrahim exams, there is a part C and part D that is musical theater, that is not the operatic. So I got introduced to all those songs, and then we go to YouTube to see clips. So a friend of mine, Raphael, imported like 7 of them. Oklahoma, South Pacific, Sound of Music, The King and I, which other one?
Joseph and the Muslim Technicolor
Yeah,
books.
all those imported DVD. So I watched them, and then I went on Google, I searched Wikipedia about them. So I was conversant with lines and movement and yada yada. So when I saw that it happens in Nigeria, it was easy for me to adapt. And I didn't go in as an actor, I went in as a composer and voice trainer. And because I've already composed, and my compositions were just acquired, I wasn't commissioned to go and write. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
There are things I've written 4-5 years. They said, oh, these songs are good. So I was welcomed. It was easy for me. And because maybe God has prepared me and I've been lucky to just have Ayorinde in the right place, who cherished my talent and brought me in.
Just a moment. Mr. Ayorinde is actually one of our key attendees, follower, contributor to this particular program. So I'm sure he will join us today. And in case he is yet to join, I just want to, just a shout out to him, but I'm sure he will definitely join us today. He's a key component of this program, and he has presented on many occasions and facilitated discussion. So thanks so much, Mr. Ayorinde, if you are there. Thank you so much. So now the point is, from Ayorinde connecting you to the connecting that dot, so you connected. Then the question is, you came into that process with Ayorinde. Now, the first question I ask in a different way right now. So, what does the industry, since you came in, look like today?
All right.
Since you joined,
yeah.
so what are the progression? What is the progression like, and what has changed? What is still there? So what is it like today?
All right. So one of the things I learned from all the seminars I've attended home and abroad, all the countries we try to emulate, they had core values. They train personalities. Those personalities, we grew up to uphold the core values of the company, and then we have legacies. So what I try to do is to train people. I've introduced some of my Muslim people into the musical theater. The theater space is wide. People come in, people go. Whereas unlike Muslim, you can't just walk in and out. It's either you are in the Muslim orchestra or Muslim choir or the diploma school. You must be known, you must belong,
Definitely.
and you must be trained. You get my point? So I try to bring that, what I've learned from Muslim, into musical theater. How did I do that? I started teaching people how to sing. I remember the first time I met people to come and to audition people, and they said, these are our musicians. And by the time they started singing some core traditional songs, with the core voices, which are good, but they are not so marketable. These are not voices that people will pay to come and listen to.
That's quite interesting. What differentiates the voice you're talking about and the kind of voices you were looking for?
Okay, for example, one of the arguments I've always given is that in African music, we don't use key signatures. We don't use keys, time signatures. Why? Because of the liberty, because of the freedom. I've been able to interview some people and to explain.
Is it because they don't write the key signature, you think they don't use key? Or because the key signature means something else in the African context?
No. Key signatures teach you to just sit on a key. Once they give you a key signature, that's the key of that piece. And that puts you on that key from the beginning of the piece to the end, or else there are other accidentals that tells you to modulate in between. But once you have a key signature from the beginning to the end, that's what you stick to. There is no freedom of performance in the West.
In the West, okay.
But in Africa, everything is freedom. Some people, they have, in my own culture, Ebi Okile, that is, they imbibe the spiritual thing in you. that you just pitch. Sometimes some people just speak it and they're already in the spirit according to our tradition. They don't even know they're there. And they just say it. Oh, yeah, and they just say, now the people are just doing incantation. And no, those things used to be spiritually motivated then. And you have freedom to sing. People will just speak some, if they want to do it again, it's not the same thing. Like the British, like the West, the Greek, like the Western world, they just put repeat. Repeat this. No, you are not expected to repeat it the same way. That's the way they do it.
Something now.
Which was what they did the first time I said it.
From what you sang earlier. Sorry, our colleagues, this is very important for us. This is a scholarly platform, but it's very important for us to also let you understand what we're talking about, not from the top, also from the deeper level of what shape our everyday life in Africa, particularly in Nigeria, and this context of this conversation. So, that you said right now. So the point is that, don't you think there's a structure in what you just did right now?
I know.
So I think your point is that the ways in which Africa conceptualized theory, key signature, time signature, is not the same way that the West conceived the idea.
What I'm saying is that we cannot call it key signature, time signature.
Of course,
because
the term itself does not even exist in Africa. Even
exactly.
the term music does not exist in any African language.
Thank you.
There is no equivalent word for music in Yoruba,
at all.
in Zulu, Izikoza, Pedi, Zulu,
Initial,
anywhere. There is no word for. So it's a colonial term, and we have imbibed it, we have embodied it to replace that idea of Lulu, drumming, play marimba, or dancing. So on that note, I think you are right in the sense that, but in the Western world, we call it terms of reference or terms of recognition. It's a way in which they understand their own performances. Meanwhile, from what you did right now, there are other ways we can, the way you just explained to me, they sing Igbere, all those things. These are theories also. They are local philosophies that underpin creative intention, that spur creativity. Okay, again, let's go back to the conversation. Thank you so much. So you're talking about, the difference and what is marketable. What is marketable and the other ways of singing.
All right. So, like I said, when you go to the elite, circle of the elite, and there's a particular way of singing that they are used to. When I was teaching in Greenspring School, I was in the Montessori, and one of the best Montessorians in the world in Nigeria, a man, Mr. Ogunkombi, the man will not let you do otherwise unless what is already taught, what we must follow, and it has worked. If it's not broken, why fix it? So he tells me every time, he reminds me, from the simple to complex, from the known to the unknown, from the real to the imaginary. So you need to make sure that you tell them what you let the elites see what they have, what they like, before you now introduce a cultural thing. Not just shouting, where are you? Then the next one, I want to go cool away. Then the next one, no. So when people heard, and they hear orchestration, this Yoruba from the beginning to the end, and it just not like baby also. But the melody stretched, the sonority, the simplicity, anybody can just sing, ma. The song has been sung by Russia, it has been sung by Polish, it has been sung by German. A lot of people have done my composition on YouTube everywhere. It just, all my compositions are just like that. Just straight, one word, two words, good melody, nice Yoruba, and that's it. So that's why I started introducing to them, okay, can we sing from the mask? Can we stand upright? Okay, can we put some English sounds here? Can we introduce a keyboard? Can we reduce some of the shouting? Can we not shout? Okay, like Miss Bonali will always say, when time she directs, can you not shout? This microphone, one is 1,000 pounds. Everybody will hear you. But projects, don't just shout. Because when you shout, you lose the essence. Like I'm having a conversation with you, I'm not shouting, I'm talking. So how come you have to say, no. So I started telling them, can we not shout? Can you shape your mouth well? If at all you want to be Yoruba, this is marketable. People from outside Nigeria are coming to watch us. They should understand the English you're speaking. That's what I meant when I said the way they sing.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I think I'm not sure if you are done with that, but we can always come
Come
back
back
to
to
it.
it. All right.
Definitely, we can always come back to it. Yeah. So I think the question was, what does the industry look like now? Since then, what has changed? So what can you point out 2 or 3 differences from what is happening now? And by that, let me just give a very quick note in terms of context. 20, I think we're talking about 10 years ago of 12 years ago now. So the point then, the ways in which technology enabled creativity is quite different to the way it is today. Today, if you want to write Magbagbemi, all it takes is just for you to open your laptop. You have Mac, for instance. There's a lot of software. You can encode, you can import from YouTube and put it and extract the accompaniment. You can also extract the voice and put it. So you can do and undo today. That was not possible 10 years ago. So then I'm also sure. So this is mainly technological advancement in the last 10 years. But in terms of the industry itself, from the first time Ayo Ajayi and others did the show at Saro, and now I'm sure there are a lot of production. Of course, you are central to this conversation also. So how are the young ones, particularly, what are the new things in the industry? I think that's the question. What has changed? What is the new stuff? What are the new terms? What are the new approaches? What is the state of the industry today?
I like that part of the Bible that says, money answereth all things. And that's why I mentioned Miss Bonner Peters that she spent her money. Now, let me tell you something about life. Interest is something. Sustainability is another thing. People want to dance. They're fantastic dancers in medical school. Do you want to try some vocalist in the law school? But they know that if I sing and I don't have Don Jazzy to promote me with 100 million naira, who's going to listen to my song? Am I going to? But that's why I said, when Miss Bolani Hospital came and pumped money, and the politicians and the elite and stakeholders are coming in. So right now, in last December, I was involved in more than 5-6 musical theater productions. People are beginning to come in. So we have more jobs for my people. I don't know the influence of technology in what we do, but I know that money is being pumped inside, and people are saying that, okay, we can make money. People are tired of sitting at home. People are now beginning to come out to theater to come. And our national theater is not working. And Mrs. Bola Hospitals has built a theater that is always producing.
You mean it wasn't working 10 years ago when Saro was, of course.
Is it working now?
But we just had First Bank. Shout out to First Bank. They just renewed, and it's everywhere online. Haven't you seen the notice? Renewed, renovated,
No, renovation has been coming on since. I've been part of, I know.
But haven't you seen the short clips flying around?
No, I've seen short clips, but I've yet to see the theater productions in the main bowl. I've entered main bowl several times, and I know the edifice. I know the kind of work. I know the work function of that place. I've never seen one big show happen in our national theater like the one I saw in Royal, the one I saw in National Theater in London, the one I see everywhere when I travel in the US.
Thank you so much. I think this is very important for that particular question, in the sense that we're talking about money. I like the way you phrase it anyway. Are you saying that the public, the business people, the people in the heart are yet to start investing, or are yet to subscribe to the development of this genre of Nigerian culture? People are yet to subscribe, sponsoring musical theater. Because I remember clearly. So let's go to details to some extent right now. First Bank and many banks also contributed to the Saro production, and they did for other production also. And also this same First Bank and other banks around, they are the one that also picked up almost the dying National Theatre and renovated it now. Although I'm yet to visit physically, but I've seen
Cliffs
the cliffs flying around, the Wole Soyinka particular space, So they did a lot of stuff, which I found very interesting, fascinating ideas. And rebuilding that center, is quite, it's a national treasure, and we need to. But I like the fact that you are also pointing to the fact that, to the reality that that space, perhaps you are saying it is underutilized. Yeah. The last time I visited that place was in around 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
May God rest the soul of Papa Jimmy Shulanke. I went to accompany him. I was his jazz pianist at the time. I was pianist. So may God rest his soul.
Yeah.
So that was the last time I visited the place. And that particular day, the national troupe performed on that stage. It was beautiful. What we now call musical theater, but in the African, the Nigerian cultural sense, it was interesting. So let's go back to the point. So the point then is, are you talking about funding for this particular art? Are you saying there are no funding, people are not funding it yet, or it's yet to be popular, or it's yet to be widely accepted as an avenue for investment? Is that what you're saying?
All right, so because I'm inside to an extent, I can say what I know. I may not be 100% right, but this is what I can say. Musical theater is not like our genre. It's the elite that we understand musical theater. Our own is from our typical things by moonlight, people gathering, cultural day, and dance. So musical theater is not, like we said earlier on, about the Western music and our own, There's no time for music in our own. So we can't say we are doing musical theater and it's African, Nigerian musical theater, no. Well, for the elite, it's business. If First Bank is giving them 100 million, it's business to them.
Okay.
Only few people you think of, the graduates of musical theater, the graduates of dance in all our schools, they should have theater. The only few people will think that way, the way Mrs. Bolanle Hospitals taught.
The approach.
I'm yet to see a Lazukweme theater of singers or Kenikon Music Library or Kenikon Theater. I'm yet to see Wole Soyinka theater for art, or I'm yet to see an Olarotime built foundation. I'm yet to see, for example, the Museum Center we all use, that everybody have been using since forever, was built by non-musicians, elites, who says, okay, let's build this theater, let's build this shell hall and this Aji Presata hall. And you and I finish from Museum. We know once we enter Aji Presata hall, you will feel comfortable from the backstage, from the foyer. It is properly well built. That is a board. But I'm talking about a young woman who said, all these theater people, okay, let's build a place where we can converge. When I do my own show in April, May, June, July, people can be, as I speak, people are having shows there. Subsidized amount. That's what I meant. So if more passionate people, I'm not saying they should not see the business part of it, but they should just see the passionate side of it. Graduate, now this balance beaters have had, she has an academy now, where people go to learn a lot of stuff there. Let's have more people build theaters. We cannot be having over 10, 20,000 people graduate from music, theater, and drama, and yada, 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 what have you, every year. And we don't have a working national theater where people can come and watch and perform as graduates, as PhD holders, as well.
They are going, but they have platform with Nollywood, aren't they?
No, they don't.
But the younger ones from Unilag, from LASU, from IFE, from other universities who offers, courses in theater art, musical drama, all this, are they not working in Nollywood?
No, they are not.
Then who are the actors? Who are the actors in Nollywood? So what's the difference between it?
So once you carry your phone, you get a good camera, ring light, you are able to influence and do some comedy and yada yada, and you have some followership. You are a potential actor in Nigeria.
Okay, please, can you expand?
Or you are beautiful, you're smart, bold enough, and you get lucky to enter Big Brother Nigeria. And you have the following. So that's why I was talking about business part of it. Because they know that if they cast me as a very good actor, who knows me? My mother will not even come and watch me, or my twin sister. So if my own parents cannot come and patronize business, why use me? So I'm speaking on behalf of the people that are investing their money. So they will need a return. We need to go to academics and see how we can put publicity and put, enough market on our students, on our graduates. Like when I was finishing from Luzon, what MTN Foundation did to us was massive. We were everywhere in the newspaper, yellow student, yellow. So that gave us a leverage, that gave us a kind of the ambience, the soft landing to enter the market. But you finish from Unilag, you finish from LASU, you finish from UI, then you are in Lagos, they try to go for audition. They don't know you. The first thing they want to do, check your Instagram and how many followers do you have?
Maybe I like the way you create the, the contrasts between the two sides. The first layer is the group that went to school. People like I and you, of course, to some extent, who studied acting, music in school. Then others who are perhaps technological savvy in terms of they know how to use their, let's say, Galaxy X6, that it is not just a phone, it's actually a business empire. It's a tool to achieve something. It's actually a bank, it's actually a workshop, and they put that ring light and they just do something just to act funny and post it on Facebook, and millions across the world with a tinkle just within seconds, people are already liking, millions have seen that. So the question is, I think that's the point, one of the important contexts for today's conversation. And I'm happy that you actually took us to that place. So the point is, what differentiates these two categories? Those who went to school, the rigors, the examination, doing all the academic thing, and those who are perhaps trained in other things, but they have, like you, like every one of us, that internalized, creativity from their culture, from their family, whatever, even from society. But they understand that, look, this technology can enhance my visibility if I do some silly things. One example, in fact, okay, I'll get there. One example is many of the people we have today, like you said, I think you are right. Most of the actors and actresses that we see today on the big screen in Nollywood, both the old Nollywood and the new Nollywood, in quote, these are the people who, most of them they don't study drama or this thing in school. Like you said, they look good and they took advantage of that personality. In one way or the other, they became, they emerge as celebrity in Nigeria. What really differentiates? What's the difference? What are the first group doing differently, and what is the other group not doing? I think maybe that's your point.
All right, so it's easy. I was one of the lecturers at Muson School where we both finished from, and I always make sure that in the term, we only had class in the classroom maybe twice or thrice. Every other classes were taken outside the classroom. So I think it's the teachers, it's the curriculum. You can't be teaching Shakespeare and Ogunde in 2025 and 2024. No, people are moving. You can't. I don't know what you're doing if you are doing projects in school and we are not seeing it. Just type Julia, you're going to see their project. Type Cambridge, type all these Yale schools of music. You're going to see, you're a lecturer from US, so projects are online. I'm always proud anytime I'm outside the country to be able to watch the Muzon recital. And I see some of my other colleagues, professors, Dr. Agatha, Dr. Yada Yada, I used to sometimes watch. I remember when you're in Germany, I used to see you watch our recital and comment, well, we don't see any of those. So it's not that they are doing something, but the lecturers are those babas. Unless we have the young ones who understand the way it was, the market of it. If the young ones are there, you can't lecture and then everything is just only in class. I know you. I can't lecture. While I was lecturing, in fact, I used to have concert of whatever we have taught in class every year. Pot of soup. I said African pot of soup. Everything in African pot of soup is Java. Sometimes you see lizard, you see snakes, different leaves, different concoction in a pot of soup of an African. So I put so many things together, the dances, the music, the costume, and what we learned in class, okay, we talk about celebration, naming ceremony, give me your naming ceremony songs in Benue. Let's have the burial, the dirges and the jebu. Then we write the script around this. This instrument, okay, let's play this instrument, let's talk about this one, let's do this. Then just like a 1 hour production. That's a project. All those baba, they just mark, score, So it's a curriculum. It's not that the young people, when they leave Unilag, you now see them. I moved the coursework of the classwork now. Let me start buying ring lights. No.
What if those ones? Are you saying those who are in school cannot also buy ring lights?
No, the curriculum doesn't, because I went to a typical Nigerian school before I now came to Mosul. A typical Nigerian school does not give you breathing space. You can't even breathe. Let the poor breathe.
Okay, well, today that's a conversation for another day, of course.
Yeah.
We always come back.
So for musical theater,
and also, sorry, just to interrupt you, we've had conversation, and I'm happy some of our professional colleagues are here, professors, they are all here. We've had conversation around curriculum, development, assessment, and I'm happy Dr. Fumi Odunuga, I think I saw her earlier. She's also here. She has actually engaged this issue. So the point is, I agree with you to a larger extent, but again, the question is, going back to the industry, what has changed? Like you explained earlier, is
money has pumped in. So we have many stakeholders. We have many executive producers. A lot of people that are bankers are resigning from bank, and because of investment banking, they can bring money. They just give a director, write script for me, give me some players, they give you the money, they go to governors.
What's the place of creativity?
See, now in the 21st century, creativity is dying.
How?
It's dying because it is not what is good now.
How?
It is what is available. It is what is most trending. Now, no matter how creative you are, you need market value. If you don't have money to market the creative mind that you have, creative product that you have, it's only you and your colleagues that will enjoy it.
So what do you mean by how to market? What do you mean by that? Can you break it down for some of our colleagues who wants to know that?
Okay, for example, if I have a banker give me 200 million naira right now, I will come out with the best musical theater productions movie that has ever happened in this world, because I've got people from Mozon Orchestra, I've got the singers and actors from musical theater to merge, and I know what I want. But some of these rich people that have the money, they didn't go to the school. They didn't even understand the theoretical part of it. They didn't even have the idea. But maybe they have the money, they know what they want. Or like someone who has studied it over the years. I'm talking about 25 years inside music and musical theater. And you are still doing it now. So that is why you see that when people that go to school abroad, because I read about all these actors. When I see them on musical theater stage, I see them in Royal Academy, I see them in a Philadelphia School of Music, I see their profile. They all went to school to study. So when they are opportune to produce, they emerge. But when you see the people that are producing in Nigeria, if you see anyone that did musical theater or music or drama, bros, I will give you $1 million. They are just business people. And I'm grateful to them that they were even able to invest their monies. And they are changing the face.
I think there's another interesting layer to your conversation.
Yes, sir.
Is there any difference between investor, director, and content producer, director? This is what I mean. Austin Peterson, BAP, she initially was not an actress. Of course, everyone can sing. She might have hobby for this and that and that and that. Of course, and that would have been one of our motivation to invest in that area, and also saying, oh, there's a gap here that my resources or personality, capacity can, fill in and develop, of course. But that is her. She has another profession. She's a lawyer, and of course, again, she also has what they call habitus, social capital, family background, social history, things that we can't even see, but always create clear ways for us. That's on the one hand. And on the other hand, somebody like you, who has been rehearsing for years, who have the capacity, you have the knowledge, and you have your own productions, of course. You have your production. So the difference between you and Bolanle Peterson is also we can also put the same between BAP and Wole Soyinka when she was doing his production, or BAP and you mentioned another name the other time, Olarotime.
Okay.
Because you guys are professional, you are content creator. You see, you become a director perhaps because of the situation in Nigeria. Because if you were to be in South Africa or to be in US or even Germany, you won't have time to even think you want to do your own because you will have in the next 3 years you are booked. You are on tour, you are moving from one place to the other. You are very, very good, So we know there's a contest for this. But the question is also that we also need to understand that in this particular country, or let's say in Lagos, for instance, some people are content creators like you. You have the skills, you have everything. So because in generally in the creative and cultural industries, there's need for people like you and BAP.
Yes.
So that is what sustains the industry.
Yes,
there are
the
people
manager.
there are people who have the capacity and they are willing to promote. So they invest into that process. And they also use their own social capital, like I mentioned earlier.
Sir, let me cut you there.
Okay.
Do you know they are the most useful?
I don't know, of course.
Ah.
I don't know. What is useful is also, of course. That's not even the point here.
For professionalism's sakes,
yeah.
It's all over the world. It's investors. If you don't have investors, your products are just there.
Definitely.
Do you know how many CDs are in the grave? 1999, when I used to go to 1997, 1999, when I used to follow my cousins to AJD Jizri studio. Beautiful songs in the studio. No promotion. The guys are there. Some of them have ventured into maybe wire or into social capital, some other things. Because so many beautiful songs in the studio. They are there in laptops. Beautiful songs. There is one guy that I love so much out of all these pop stars. That's Davido. Davido wanted to do music, but the father said no. Until the father put money, created the music department, and yada. You cannot have talent without money. But go are the days where if you are lucky.
Just like us, BAP, in terms of habitus, social capital.
The father had monies, the Adelekes are the billionaires.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly, so they are needed.
In other places, in another term, in social sciences, or let's take it back to the scholarly language, we call it privilege.
Yes.
Talking about white privilege, social, they call it habitus, capitals.
Yes.
So they have this capital. Yeah, this thing happens everywhere. You see, it is one of the things that shape the creative industry. In fact, society as a whole, society is like a web, like this, anthropologist Clifford Geertz explained society, and in the 70s, he called it, the web of significance. It's a web. He explained it as a web where people work together. So we overlap. You overlap. So BAP, Ayo Ajayi, you, in one way or the other, you have created something, and from that, something has emerged. You have given platform to many people.
Yes.
Of course. Yes. So this is the industry. The question we can now ask ourselves in the Nigerian context might be that why is the component of musical theater is not being, or is yet to attract other forms of investment? Because Nollywood, they have their own platform or their own model. Other forms of art. We have many book festivals in this country today. We have many art festivals, and one of the, or even film festival, and one of I can say still running in terms of time and lasting, value is what we call, is it Ake Festival, Lagos Book Festival, all those things. I don't know how the organizers fund these things, but the fact is that one way or the other, they are pushing this production, and every year people come across the world to partake in one way or the other. So they are creating, but going back to your word around value, if there's a value in a product, don't you think other people, or it is if there's a value, that's one. Other one is it is well positioned. I don't know. Does that make sense at all?
I understand you. So what I was saying is that no matter how positioned you are, you need an investor who believes in your position, who believes in your whatever you're doing. The musical theater before, I don't know how many people believed in it before St. Peter's came in. When she came in, Buhari came to watch Saru. Rotimi Amici came to watch Saru. Tinubu came to watch Saru. You don't understand? I work with this woman. This woman has really taken us to the greater place we can ever. Now, I've been everywhere. I don't queue to get visas. Why? Because I work at Terra Culture. Her letter is on top of my contract. Her signature is on my papers everywhere. So she's not. That's why I'm saying that if you can have more of Bola, and she didn't just say it. She's churning out movies here and there and giving people jobs.
There's another point to
and she built a theater in how many? It comes with the screen. The lighting alone is massive. Do you understand what I mean?
Definitely.
That's what I mean, that if you can have people bring money. When I was in Muzon, I was living in Mushi. When Karen Patterson came to teach us cello, there was a day I borrowed the cello from my children and I was playing. I couldn't hear myself because of the noise in Mushi. People, when they were sleeping, they would say, brother, you are disturbing us. So also my colleagues are playing trumpet, they are playing trombone. They always find their way to Muzon to hear, because when they get home, in Ojuelegba, in Bariga, the trumpet disturb even their parents. So that's why I said it's the music of the elite, because they cherish it. They know that you have to be in the room to practice. They know the essence of music. So the elite has to come and save the situation. For our parents then, growing up, say that you're a banker, you're a lawyer, you're an engineer, you're a doctor. You want to do anything music like, music, and that's what the video said, his father said, no, it's not my own son that will be singing up and down. Because they didn't know that music could be an avenue, could be a tool, could also be a profession. Even a rich man did not allow his son. You get? So that's what I mean.
Yes, we are going to move to the next levels as soon as right now. But you mentioned I like it when you outline the fact that Tinubu, Buhari, Amechi, these are top-notch Nigerian
These are presidents.
Politicians, of course, Nigerian elite and president, people who control what and what, So the point is, going back to value, of course, they came for many reasons. And I remember 2013, I remember these people are on the other side. They are either the left wing or no, trying to get the power. So, and that's it for some of us who are into the cultural, who operate in the cultural industry, particularly from the scholarly perspective, we know the power of culture and how political culture can be in terms of how politicians, often draw on culture to assert their value or to negotiate their presence. So that could be one of it. But the other side of it is the fact that there's a value in sorrow. And that value is a Nigerian story that it tells. So the question from your own point is that how many of Nigerian stories can people tell? And how can they package stories that challenge? Look at, for instance, the same BAP has just produced Fumilayo. Fumilayo is a story that any Nigerian would definitely want to see. Not only in terms of aesthetic value, for its historical value, for its cultural value, and also for the political value of the project itself. The woman was the first to drive car in Nigeria. As a woman, as early as 1940s, 1950s, she was already international, working with the USSR. She was already an international phenomenon. So any Nigerian who is interested in Nigeria would definitely want to see that kind of production. But the next question, which I think this point we answer, is the question about you. Let's go back to you for a while and see how your own position can help us further flesh out this reality. So, and that's about your own songs, your composition, your production, your approach to this creative, how you are shaping the creative landscape from your own personal self, from your own perspective. So the question I have for you, as a composer, what let me, okay, I think I'm trying to get it down, yeah. Yes, as a composer, do you have a specific approach to musical theater or composition?
Okay. Uh, for Nigerian musical theater industry, it is very, very difficult to have a streamline a mono approach identity because because you're a good songwriter, you're going to write in Igbo, you're going to write in Yoruba, you're going to be writing some contemporary music, some pop music, and then you're going to be dealing with actors who are fantastic singers, actors who cannot even sing at all, actors who are already celebrities who are very old that you can't even control, actors who are very, very poor, actors who are very, very rich. You know, Nigeria is so diversified. That is one of the problems we have in our theater industry. When they say African music or Yoruba music, I'm like, ordinary Jebu, we have hundreds of them. You get,
Yeah.
Jebu Mushin, Jebu Go, Jebu Ekiniko, Jebu Nguru, Jebu Ifo, Jebu Dugulu, Jebu De, Jebu Nguru, you know, Jebu Dowa, Jebu this and that, you know. So, my approach is the director's approach. And I've been fortunate enough to have a kind of dignity. That's what I've always said. I've just been lucky. There is a kind of dignity around my personality that when people hear me, they respect my judgment. So my approach is directorial approach. I sit down in pre-production and ask the director, how do you want it to be? Do you want it songs? If you say yes, do you want us to do auditions or you still want to use these actors? Because sometimes you see all these actors that are going to sell the ticket. Before I used to get angry, but I understand them now from the production, from the producer's point of view. They need to sell ticket. They need to bring people in. It would be so wrong if we are acting to empty seats, which has happened many times. For example, we cannot bring a Genevieve Nnaji to the stage. People are going to see her sing and dance and act live, and the hall will not be full to the brim. You are bringing a Davido, a Burna Boy to come and act on the stage, and it's going to be full to the brim. That's why you have a Whitney on the stage. That's why you have a Beyonce on the stage to act in Dream Girls and yada yada yada. You know.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you bring me to the stage, I don't know if you all should sell like 10 tickets. Good luck to you. But now I understand better. So I don't have a streamlined approach. One of the talents I have is spontaneity and diversification. I can write song right now. Sometimes during rehearsal, some directors will just tell me, Kenny, don't you think we've been talking for so long? I'm like, oh, maybe. It's whatever you want. Please, can you, everybody stop, give us a song. And I'll produce a song right now. And it's going to be fresh, new, simple. And I write songs according to the performance. I'm not the type that will write song and say, go and look for the person to sing the song. Maybe when I'm doing my own show and I have the money, I can persist and say, this song, I want someone who can pitch or pitch or pitch. Sometimes you write in E flat and then they could not even pitch C. Then you take the song back to maybe A flat or B flat, you know? So my own approach is the director's approach. I always listen to the director. What do you want? How do you want it to be? I listen to the dance director too, because sometimes they tell us dances are slow. Can you pop up the music? I'm like, but this scene does not require that jive. So we find a way to marry the two ideas together. And it's been helpful. It's been very, very helpful.
Okay. Quickly, let me go. Let me. We'll definitely come back to that. Or during the general conversation, people, our colleagues will definitely have one or two things to ask you regarding that. So, I know you have faced challenges in the process.
Oh,
so I know you have challenges, yeah. But can you share a particular moment that you think people can learn from in terms of when went through a particular issue or a challenge that you think, okay, I want to share this, people can learn from it?
Oh, I have a lot of terrible challenges. A lot of them.
Just share one.
All right. So, working with adults, especially typical Nigerian adults, is always difficult. There was this particular show, 2021, 2022, that I would always go and kneel down in front of this woman and open the script and say, yes, ma, This is the song, ma. Can you help us sing it now? And she will tell me, no, I'm not ready now. That was the 10th day of rehearsal. 2 days of rehearsal. No, I'm not ready now. And she's a major actor.
Wow.
She has to say so that we can continue. She has to say so that we can know the key. You get what I mean? Because now after her, the daughter is singing, the granddaughter is singing, then the other actors are singing around. So I could not decipher the key to put, even the language I wanted. And she's a superstar. She's a well-known person, you know. So the challenges I've been working with superstar celebrities that cannot sing.
Celebrities that cannot sing.
But they are the ones that we sell the market. All the singers, nobody comes from their own family to even come and watch. No, I'm not kidding. A lot of my friends, I'm like, do you have mommy? Do you have daddy? Do you have siblings? Where are they? They've never shown up to watch us. But this celebrity, as you put them on your status, you mean this also person will be there? You mean you know this person? Bros, get me ticket now. I don't have ticket. Let me buy 5 tickets. Let me buy 10 tickets. I want to bring my mommy. I want to blah, 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 blah. And anything those celebrities sing, everybody, they all goes, wow. You understand? You get what I mean?
Definitely.
For example, now, bringing it now to the stage, and she just say, yeah, Jesus, or God, or anyway, or any. They all will go gaga. It's Ramsey Noah. But bring one of the operatic singer or best the voice Nigeria, blah, 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 to sing, oh yeah, and that's it. It ends there. So that's why I was saying earlier on that creativity now, nobody talks about creativity anymore. If the creativity cannot have market value, if you cannot struggle and place yourself there, the people that are there will feature you. Like the best singers now, choir groups are doing the covers of our pop musicians. Have you not realized?
Of course.
See all these choir, they sing and they do a cover very beautiful of the song that I just sang, blow my mind, blow my, blow. With all due respect to them, that's their own voice. You know, some of them with their, my people, and they just sing and dish out all those songs. And then we now have good musicians trying to gather the same together to do the cover of all those kind of music.
Wow. So on that note, we'll definitely come back to that. Let's quickly do one more question, then we'll open to our colleagues, our friends online. So what would be your advice for younger composers who want to work in the musical theater industry?
Just start. Don't look for money.
But you are the one talking about money since that.
No. I'm saying to do a production.
Okay.
Just start. Don't look for money. Because I realize that if you don't look for money and you do your job well, there is every possibility that you can get that social capital that is needed. There is nobody want to do a musical theater production in Nigeria now that will not first reach out to me. If they don't call me first, maybe second. I've always been the first point of contact. They've always called me. Even for now, in this November, I'm going to California to do a production, an Igbo production. This November. As at yesterday, we're still doing auditions to some of those American actors and actresses. You know? So what I will advise you, if you're watching, don't look for money. Don't just look for money. If you have another job, another means of making money, please never leave it. And keep on writing. Don't give up. If you have little money for the start, just start. When I started Saru with Ayorinde, I was not paid a dime. I didn't get a kobo. But my songs were everywhere. And Ayorinde did something fantastic. I got all the end credit of all the songs by Oretimehin Kehinde, final arrangement by Ayorinde, by Oretimehin, words by Oretimehin, music by Ayorinde, everything for that Saru. You check the back page of Saru, you see my names everywhere. So when people say, you're the one, oh, that's good. You're the one, oh, you're the one that did this. So I've been involved in more than 30 or 50 different productions.
Wow.
And writing nothing less than 10 to 20 songs each. So you can imagine. Just start. And I'm not rich.
What's in viral? Okay, I don't know. We can talk about that, of course. So the final question, the final one. What does the future of musical theater look like in Nigeria?
Oh, it's so bright.
How?
It is so bright. Okay, presently, myself and some of my people, I founded an association of musical theater practitioners in Nigeria, registered, started it last year. So people are joining, the awareness is coming, we are seeing stakeholders, people are traveling abroad, community. You know, when you create a community, then there can be legacy, then there can be future. So I feel the future is bright, and we have more stakeholders, more producers, more productions, more actors, more singers coming in now to the musical theater space. So the future is great.
Wow. Okay. Thanks so much, friends. It's been an interesting journey with our brother, friend, colleagues, and maestro himself, Mr. Kehinde Oretimehin. At this stage, at this point, I would like to open the conversation, for us to ask questions. I'm sure you have questions, as mentioned earlier in the process. You have questions, you have things you want to discuss, you want to ask Mr. Kehinde Oretimehin. So we're going to open right now. So feel free to use your mic and use the emoji to raise your hand to ask your question. So thank you so much. So you're welcome to ask question. I'm sure we have questions. We have things we want to ask Mr. Oretimehin. Okay, there's a question here. I can see. Yeah, there's a question here. Dr. Fumi Odunuga. Oh, I just mentioned you not too long. Okay, you are welcome, Mark. Kindly use the mic, please. You have the floor for your question. Kindly unmute yourself.
Hello,
Hello.
can you hear me?
Definitely. Clear.
Oh,
Clearly.
good afternoon, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
And I want to sincerely appreciate our speaker for today. He has thrown so much light on so many things that have been bothering me on this music theater thing. I want to talk about the curriculum because that was when you mentioned my name, when you were talking about the curriculum of the main theater studies in the university. I want to ask him that, is there a way that we can have programs for theater teaching like we have in Muson, where the content will not be as large as what we have in the curriculum in the theater in the universities? Is there any way? Has there been anything like that before? Or does he have any plan of coming up with such things? I don't know whether he understands that my question.
I do.
You know, when you go to Muson, it's either you study theory or piano, not necessarily going into maybe African music, literature, or music, ensemble studies, and all other. You go there to learn strictly piano or strictly theory or any of the other musical instruments. Now, I now want to ask that, can we have such for theater where students can only come to learn maybe composition for music theater alone or performance or things like that, that can streamline the grandiose curriculum that we have in the university? We are not ruling out the curriculum in the university, but we are just thinking of a way. I don't want to call it shortcuts, but something that will not be as big as that, that can assist practitioners in the field. That's my question.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So can I answer?
Definitely,
All right.
definitely.
So I like what you just said. For example, I go to Unilag once in a while on invitation to talk to the students. And like I said, I just started an association of musical theater practitioners in Lagos. And we are planning to reach out to schools. One of the things I used to tell some of my lecturer friends, why can't a Bolanjo Hospitals be a lecturer, an invited guest lecturer in all these schools? All these Muabudu, all these people that are really doing these jobs. Why must he be a professor of clinical emeritus? We are not undermining it. Why can't they just come just once in a time or twice in a time, lecture all these students, let them understand what is happening? It's not rocket science. It's not until you gather people together. When I was in school, lecturing at Museum Center, I will bring the percussionist from Ajebule. Kora Obidi, that lady that dances with her pants with pregnancy in the American Idols or whatever, I can't remember the platform. I brought her to come and talk to my students because I know that when they finish from Muzon, how many people will be able to hire violinists to play for them? I know that people want them to play in the theater field, the theater industry, so that they'll be fit enough. They'll be able to understand when they say the African rhythm is polyrhythmic. What does that mean? So I brought percussionists to teach, paid percussionists, fantastic percussionists who have played in Harvard, played in Germany, who have played in France, all over the world. I brought them. That is what we need to do. We need to talk about it. Before you can allow anybody to, they say, what school did you finish from? Do you have masters? Do you have PhD? How many research have you done? But these are the people making waves for Nigeria abroad. A Davido should be a lecturer. A Burna Boy should have a place to teach, to talk to students about his business, music business. Abroad, we see Beyonce in school, we see some of these people in school, mentoring people. Until we imbibe all those people into our curriculum, let's bring them to school to come and talk about it. It's not like we need to rent a hotel, rent Muzon, now we now converge, we now bring them. No. HODs and deans of faculties should now welcome the people that are really marketing these things outside. The movie producers, the theater producers. A BAP finished from Unilag. And I know that woman. I'm mentioning her because that's the only woman I work with that I trust. You contact her from the Faculty of Music. She will come if she's less busy. She knows how to groom people. She enjoys grooming people, mentoring people. She talks about herself, about her school, and yada yada, what have you not. And then whatever she says, lecturers can sit down, package it, and move from there, improve from there. Next month, you bring another stakeholders. Next month, you bring another, and the tons of them are Unilag alumni, UI alumni, IFE alumni, Muzon alumni. There are many of them. You bring them, they'll be proud to give back. And when they give back, they sponsor your project. You know what I mean? So that's the way forward. That's just one way forward. We need to overhaul our curriculum. We need to overhaul our curriculum. And when I mean overhaul, we don't call on people that are above 60-year-olds to come and do our curriculum for us. It has never worked anywhere in the world. It will not work. Creativity is something that trends with generation, with time. It's creativity. What I knew in the 80s can never work in the 90s, can never work in 2000, can never work in 2010. Now my host just asked me the influence of technology that were not present 10 years ago, now in musical theater. And you expect a lecturer who does not understand the way the X came about, the way the Instagram works, the way they sponsor Instagram, to do a curriculum for creative department in school. It cannot work. It can't. A Gen Z generation who knows how to use ring lights and a lecturer who did not see phone or laptop when he was in school cannot develop a curriculum now. Although they are the ones there now. That's the problem. And they don't want to bring a Bolando Peters, a Mwabudu, a Kunle Afolayan, a Jennifer, Funke Akindele. These people should come to school to lecture.
What if
free.
those ones are busy, they don't have time?
Because I work with them. They are not busy.
Okay.
They taught me, they grew me. So do you think I work with Bolando Hospitals and she never taught me anything? She will come into her office and tell, Ulele. They groomed me. They will groom. Call them first. It's available in the world, everywhere in the world. They call people to come and lecture, to come and talk about things. So call them in. Let them come and talk about what they know. Ask questions. Just 2 hours lectures. And you treat them well. Everybody likes to be well treated. When you treat them well, give them the honor that is due. Please, man, we need you to come and talk to our students. We need you to lecture your associate professors. Give them honorary profession, honorary doctors.
Wow.
Because they have really done well. Sorry, sir, they are the ones that have promoted our music, our industry, more than any professor in recent times. So give them their flowers. Let them be involved in all our school's curriculum.
Wow. Thank you so much. Yeah, so we have 2 more questions to go, definitely. We have 2 people are raising their hand. I will call you, definitely. I have Mr. Korijama Peloye, I have Mr. Samson Oladusu. Definitely, I will get to you right away. And we also have Professor Adeolu Kunade 3. But before then, before calling each of these our colleagues, brother, father, and professor, I'd like to remind some of us, or some of our colleagues or friends online who are just joining us, or this is your first time on this platform. This is Organ House Concert and Seminar Series. It's a weekly program here at Mountaintop University. So what we do is we bring the town to the gown. We bring professionalism into scholarship. We bring scholarship into professionalism. So that is what we do, and that is what we are seeing today. More so, this is a space for critical thinking, free learning, and experimentation. Here, we are free, and we create a free space to engage, to experiment, or to explore different ideas. We've, like what we are having today, we've had series of recordings in the last few months, and I would like to share with you a link to some of the recordings. You can follow us on YouTube. You can follow us on social media pages. We have the Organ House series on Facebook, the Organ House Corner Seminar series on X, Twitter. We also have it on Instagram and also on YouTube. So I just shared the YouTube page with us. Kindly check our page, follow us, and more so, this project is a document, we call it digital humanities project. By that, I mean it's a form of digitization, it's a form of documentation of the people we have around. The kind of knowledge Mr. Oretimehin shared with us today is unique. So these are kind of knowledge that, like he just mentioned, we want to also empower, create visibility for people to take advantage of in learning, because many people will not join this, but through our online pages, we can open it to the world. People can get to know about him and his work. So it's twofold: to spotlight people around, particularly professionals and our professors, and also to document ideas, powerful ideas from Nigeria, because Nigeria is not just about corruption. Nigeria is also about great values like what we are having today. So that platform says it all. So we have recordings. We have a series of recordings, but some of them have been edited and there. So you are free to share. You are free to explore and take advantage of the resources we have on that particular platform. Thank you so much. So let's have Mr. Korede Omokpelwe.
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody can hear me.
Definitely, I can hear you clearly.
Hey, Mr. Oretimehin. Good afternoon.
Good
Yes,
afternoon.
I would like to react to two things, to what you have said, and I would also like to react to the other. I didn't get a name. I'm sorry if I cannot pronounce your name very well. I'm sorry, ma'am. Now, let me speak from my own point of view, curriculum-wise. Presently, GCSE music in England, I've seen reduction in the amount of students that are taking music in year 10. And their government is so worried about it that every music teacher in England now, before September, must come up with a new plan. They call it a development plan, which must be submitted before September on how to rejuvenate music and ensure that more students can take music in year 10. That's one aspect to it, curriculum-wise. Secondly, is that looking at the present day in Nigeria, we hear everybody talking about protest and protest. And when you listen to certain people, the solution they want Nigeria to have is to return Nigeria to the 1970s. The solutions of the 1970s cannot work in 2024, right? Those solutions are dead on arrival. We have so many curriculum in Nigeria that is teaching students and preparing them for professions and jobs that are already extinct since 1994. I mean, when we were studying, there was nothing like system engineering. Yes, you can get electrical engineering, but now we have several engineering over the place. So it is a bit, it's a bit befuddling that the curriculum of music in Nigeria is static, right? It's not evolving with the times. And evolving with the times doesn't mean that we are going to let go of what we are doing. What do I mean, for instance? Every cartoon, at least if you go to Netflix, you check certain cartoons on Netflix now, you see them introducing the Yoruba language, I mean, just imagine me that I call myself a traditionalist. The first time I will notice Baba Legba is in a cartoon of a black, a black character describing, the Legba, Ujo Legba stuff in a cartoon that just came out this year. And we are here hoarding and keeping all our information in the library. So as scholars, we need to ensure that whatever we do in the university, right, is available to the practitioners immediately, so that those things do not just end up in the libraries, right? And they can be used right there immediately in the profession. So it's not enough to complain about this is not good, this is not good. The research you make it available to the practitioners. And to the practitioners also need to have equivalent knowledge that is at par with the scholars, so that they can have, equal and similar way of interpreting whatever research comes out from the universities. Like you have said, and Mr. Oretimehin, that the practitioners and scholars need to have a platform where they can have regular communication. This is the new scholarly research. How are you going to do it practically? Let me give an example. Does anybody here know that there's Ebony Creative Academy that is fully sponsored by Lagos State for people that want to record films? I attended the school last year, fully funded by Lagos State. So while we are there, insulated with all our information, the so-called practitioners are very forward-driven and are not held back by scholarly bureaucracy. Exactly. And they are moving forward. And all we can do is just grumble and saying that they are not doing it well. But where is the research for the practitioners to work upon? Look at the last Bashorunga that we watched. It's a good production, no doubt about it. But I'm discussing with another professor, another doctor. We could pinpoint a certain thing that could have been put correctly if the people that produce that film have access to scholars that can give them further information into research. Yeah. So while the scholars are on their high horse, the practitioners too are at fault on their high horse. They don't look for information.
They do.
So look for information from
Sorry, prof, because I work with them.
I'm not a prof, sir.
Sorry, Daddy. Oh, Mr. Kehinde, because
yes, sir.
I work with them, they look for, because they sent me to Ife when we wanted to do Moremi. I went to OAU, I went to the library, I went to the palace like 5 times. For 6 months, they looked for, I went to Isimiri, I did all the ritual. They always look for, that's why I've always spoken about Bola Hospitals. I work for her, and I can vouch for her. I know, whatever I'm saying about her, 99%, 90% and above. For Moremi,
okay, thank you. Thank you very much. And that is you. That is you. And that is
because she was one that did GAR. That's why I said she looked for.
I know, and I'm also saying that it's not a bad production. Yeah. But I'm talking about back in the days, Yoruba speaking was always heavily punctuated with proverbs. We didn't hear many of that. But that's not what I'm really. That's not where I'm going to. Where I'm going to is that one cannot point finger at one side of the divide and not point a finger at the other side of the divide.
Yes.
While we are asking scholars to open the doors, the practitioners should be willing to enter through the door.
Yes.
So it's as simple as that. So let's say we are grumbling now that practitioners, scholars. Practitioners, what are you also doing to get this information out? See, if we as a collegiate of scholars, right, protest and insist and insist and insist, these scholars will drop their researches for us to read, and we begin to
Yes.
put them into what we do in practitioning. So
Wow.
we shouldn't just no side of the divide should be insulated and say
Yes.
that somebody is 65 years, they cannot give me information. No. Or somebody is 40 years, they cannot give information. No. Let us ensure that we are able to find a common ground where scholarly research is available for practitioners to pick on to use in the industry. That is my own point of view. At the
Thank you.
moment now, Kunle Afolayan is doing a film, something, 25,000 naira. People are going there to study. Why are people rushing that? Because that's what they see. The scholars, I'm sorry to use the word, are probably too proud to talk to us commoners to come and teach us what they know. So therefore, the people you see in the industry will get the information from where they can get it. And now when they get it, you now come and say it's not accurate. But that is where they can get the information. So make your scholarly research available for practitioners to have access to. Practitioners, increase your knowledge in understanding research so that everybody can meet at the same place. But we cannot point fingers at scholars and blame them, and not point fingers at practitioners and say
That's
that
true.
practitioners are
Might.
mighty. There must be
Yes.
a
Yes.
divide, town to gown.
Yes.
That's why the word rhyme,
Yes.
town to gown. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you so much, Mr. Korede. Mr. Korede is actually, again, as mentioned earlier, is a core component of this project, and he has been here on many occasions. So thanks so much, Mr. Korede. And as I mentioned earlier, Mr. Ajayi also came in later, so I have mentioned you. Thank you so much. You were actually spotlighted here, but we can talk about it later. So one point I just want to quickly add to your point, Mr. Korede, regarding the, the working together, bringing the town, to the gown of professionals and scholars working together. I don't know much about the Nollywood industry or the musical theater, yeah, but I know a lot about the music industry in terms of the kind of documentary work that has been produced in the last 4 years. Yeah, I have worked on many documentaries, including Afrobeat, The Journey of the Beat by Obi Asika and Ed Kiezo. Shout out to those wonderful guys. Although Ed Kiezo in itself is a researcher, is a component, is a huge component of Nigerian history, all-around researcher. And Obi Asika, of course, I'm sure you know Obi Asika is a current DG of art and culture in Nigeria and also the CEO of Nigerian Idol. So these guys, I think they have a different approach. I work with them consulting, also being on that documentary. It was mandatory because, they say, oh. Then also, there are other guys who are also doing documents. So in the documentary areas, I think there's a huge connection and collaboration between scholars and practitioners. Although, one thing I noticed is that there's a kind of suspicion between two of them, particularly in Nigerian context. Of course, I am not based in Nigeria. I was invited from the US, from the Germany on many occasions to come and do these things, But I haven't seen much of that happening between music industry experts and local scholars. I don't know. I'm yet to discover what really happened. But they do a lot with scholars in the diaspora. And hence I'm sharing my own case. I have worked on many occasions with even embassies. We invite, whenever I'm in Nigeria, embassies will send people to come and meet me. Let's discuss about this project. So I just want to share that with us that the boundary is not so close. I think going back to Mr. Oretimehin's earlier point is value. If you're an actor, if you are acting, you are an actor, you work in whatever. So you need to be good. You need to have the value, not just good technically. There are other values that makes the difference. If you're a scholar also, you need to know your audience very well. You need to be detailed. You need to have the capacity to deliver on whatever. So I think perhaps that's another area we can discuss later. But for now, let's quickly go back to Mr. Samson Oladosu. Then after him, we'll go to Professor Kwade. Mr. Oladosu, you have the floor.
Good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
it's nice seeing Mr. Ore. I've been a very I'm a performer of some of your works. I've performed Omi, most importantly. Well done, sir. God bless you. I just want to further the discourse on the issue of funding that he raised earlier. And I think that this issue has to do with, if we take it from the roots, I think a branch of it has to do with the way musicians were trained. Many of us were trained. Many musicians were trained in the church. And because we were trained in the church, there's this mentality that once it comes to money, we have to be very careful. You don't think about money, blah, blah, blah. And even Mr. Ore mentioned it earlier. But I think that we have grown beyond that. And let me explain. I don't want to be misquoted. In this present age, I'm a lecturer in one of the universities, and I know that when I was in school, when we have performances, when our lecturers, have performances to do and we do it for them, we don't ask for money. We don't necessarily ask them for money. In fact, they no born you were to ask for money. But at the end of the day, they will still pay us a little bit stipend. But in this present age, if you have a performance, the first question is, sir, I hope we are getting something. So I believe that this issue of funding goes in a lot of ways. First of all, many musicians were trained just musically, how to write music, how to perform music, etc., etc. Many musicians do not even know the simple basics of how to write proposals, how to engage with investors, how to sell your art. These are some of the things we need to maybe find another time to really dwell and discuss on. Simple things of how to do adverts. Some people will have concerts, some people will have theatrical performances. Only the people in their immediate environment will know about it. And this age that we are in, things are much more easier. We have social media advertisements, etc., etc. So this brings me back to the issue of funding. The people that will fund whatever art we are doing, they first of all have to know and see that we are doing it right. We have the quality for it. And the only way they will know, if we don't have what the likes of Davido, the likes of Bolanle Ostepitas have, which is that they are from well-to-do families and they have connections all around. One of the ways by which those who do not have that opportunity can go about it is to put their art out to people to see, right? So I know that it's a very, very rigorous thing to do, but I mean, we just have to try our best in doing it. And also, before I drop the mic, I'd like to talk about the issue of changing the curriculums that we're talking about. I know that there's something that they are doing right now in universities. It's called the CCMAS. So we are gradually going away from the former curriculums that we are doing. Although, yes, we can say that we can do it better. But I mean, these are discussions for another day. So the CCMAS allows for creativity of lecturers, in that you are allowed to, bring about one or two more courses that are very much prevalent, or that can carry people around in the 21st century. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, sorry, before your response.
Okay.
Thanks so much, Mr. Oladosu. You mentioned CCMAS. I just want to remind or inform our viewers, our colleagues and friends that we have had a special edition on CCMAS. You can join our YouTube page. You can see it's there and listen to it to get more insight into the idea of CCMAS and how it impacts music education and content, in this context. Thank you.
All right. So thank you, Mr. Oladusu. You're a lecturer, right? What school do you lecture in? The microphone is...
Leeds City University, Bado.
Oh, okay. All right. So let me tell you something that I know. That gone were the days when creatives don't know how to write proposals. Gone were the days when creatives don't know how to look for money. Gone were the days when creatives were just only bent on performance and performances. No. I mean, like I said earlier on, I founded an organization of musical theater people. And you needed to see the members that are there. They are bigger than and larger than life. These are top-notch. We have PhD holders among those. We have people that are associate profs among those. People that are trained over and abroad. People that go on tour. People that understand proposal writing. People that understand music business. What I'm saying is that unless you are favored, lucky, or you are politically motivated, or the money will not get to you, irrespective of the proposal you have written. I understand where you're coming from. There are some people who don't even know how to... Everywhere in the world, not everybody should write proposal. That is why we have people that go to study music business. There are people that study business management. And then we have lawyers, entertainment lawyers, that will come and help you and brand and do and package everything for you. Irrespectively, you still need people to give you money. In a sane environment, maybe you may get lucky, you may be... For example, we have Project Fame. How many years? Like 15 or 16 series. Where are all the winners of Project Fame in our music industry? All the winners of Nigerian Idols, where are they? With all the publicity, it's a multi-billion naira project, which was always done every year. After Nigerian Idols, you see The Voice, you see Project Fame, you know, you see all these things coming up every year. Where are all these winners with all the money, publicity they put on them? Where? Only everybody in Nigeria is sustainable. Why? Because those people can see enter Nollywood or whatever. Do you understand what I mean? So it's the condition we find ourselves in the country. It's a systemic problem. And someone like me, someone like you, should venture into some other businesses where we can be so rich and be able to sponsor this industry. Because that is what I feel. Tyler Perry is funding his own industry by himself. A lot of producers now funding their industry by themselves. So that is what I think we should try to get into, unless we have access to grants and loans from government. Because people are writing proposals. Don't get it twisted that actors don't know how to write proposals. If I turn my laptop and you see proposals that people have written for me, that have paid people to write for me, there is no bank I've not sat on the board to discuss my project. I just got back from UK 2 weeks ago because I want to do my own project. And my proposal was written by people in the UK. You understand? Lawyers. So we are writing proposals. Go by the days where knowledge, no. In fact, just go to AI now, write anything you want. ChatGPT will write proposal for you, top notch. What are you saying? I'm saying that the liquid cash is a systemic arrangement now that you have to know somebody to know somebody to know somebody. But if you are lucky, maybe from your church or wherever, you might be sponsored. A lot of people are writing proposals. So we should just come together and pray that one day, we get somebody to fund us. I hope I make sense.
Well, I think his point is actually, of course, you maybe you need to understand him more deeper. He's actually talking about scholars here, some graduates, who can't do those things you mentioned.
Okay, like I explained in my thoughts. Yeah. Okay, for example, we have people that studied business management. We have people that studied music businesses, entertainment lawyers. You cannot be the one to play the piano, to write the script, to write the proposal. There are so many proposal companies online. Do you want to write a proposal? It's just 10,000, just 50,000 and register. You can't be the one to write the proposal because you're not trained. People go to school to study all these things. Like this, my professor here. He was a pianist before I even entered Museum, before I even went ahead to. So some people are trained proposal writers. We can't see, this thing is more than what we think about. Writing proposal that can enter government, that can enter parastatals. Some people they know what to write, they know what to do. Well, if you also learned it, it's good if you learned it. But what I was taught, some of the seminars I've attended abroad, there are companies we partner with that will help you and market and do stuff. Marketability is key for creatives. People that will get a proposal and market it for you. You can't be the one to dance and act and sing and market it by yourselves. Creativity might lack. Let me speak my language. You're going to be short of creativity. So hire it out and share the money. If I see anybody who can market, I will give the person 80%. I think for the first show, take 80%, give me the money, let me make it. Because I know after the market is done and people understand me, subsequent money will be mine. Do you understand? That's what we should look for as creative. Let's look for marketing company, proposal writing companies that can come into our industry, see what we can offer, and package it for us. Because telling us to go to school, finish, write proposal, produce, build theater, no. No, because creativity is our body. It's not easy to do music. It's not easy to play piano.
So one thing I want to say before inviting Dr. Professor Kehinde is that we have had one edition focus on grant writing. Yeah, so we are going. I'm now promising again in the next, perhaps this month or next month, we are going to have another one. The one we had was based on research grants. So the next one we are going to have now, we are going to merge performance, the art and culture, and research together. I promise you we are going to have that. So please look forward to that. We are going to do that. But just a point, proposal writing, grant writing, all those things, they are also a world of their own.
Yes.
And there are art companies, art management NGOs. For instance, in the US, as you are, you don't need to struggle. There are NGOs that you go to, and there are formulas. You send your LOI, letter of intention. Yeah, letter of interest. You send it to them, just a very short narrative. So they will go through it. So if it makes sense to them, they will invite you to talk.
Yes.
So if you can convince them, they will ask you to send proposal. In fact, they will ask their in-house grant manager to work with you to apply for the grant, and you will get it.
You see?
So that is in South Africa. I can show you that's in South Africa, in the US, in Germany, and elsewhere. I'm not sure if you have that in Nigeria, though, but the arts and creative industry also has its own funding parameters. So perhaps we need to talk about that in Nigeria also.
We need to talk about it.
We need to talk about art and culture funding in Nigeria.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Because I know there are fundings, of course. There are people who fund shows on a weekly basis. But let's wait till that time.
Yeah.
I promise you, we'll have a session that combines arts and culture funding and scholarly research funding. We will do that, I promise you. Yeah. So let's have Professor Adeolo Kehinde, sir.
Well, thank you, Dr. Ayorinde, and thank you, SK. God bless you. I've been seeing your pictures here. I was the first time listening to you live. I can't remember if I had you done one of the series like this. But let me just thank you for bringing a lot of things on your table this morning. A lot of things have popped up from your table that you may not know that there are also seminar topics issue for discourse.
Yeah.
Several things came up. So God bless you for that wisdom. May God enlarge your post. And let me thank MTU for also what they are doing. Dr. Ayorinde, thank you. Thank you for bringing it well on the issue of African music. Does not have key signature and time signature. I was going to quickly into there, but I think you guided us well. Because one of the things that we must not do is to use foreign yardstick to measure our own local issues. For me, our music, traditional music, for emphasis sake, is more organic than our thing. I'm sure Mr. Oretimehin is from Ekiti side, am I right?
My mother is from Oshu. My father is from Ijebu Odogolu.
Okay, what I'm saying is that what I'm saying is that you know that the music we do, the harmony we do in music, in African traditional music, is different from Western harmony that we are taught in school. And nobody should come out and say because we have parallels or because people also harmonize their song in seconds and say it's a bad harmony. It's not a bad harmony. Music is what a community calls music. As long as that community says it is music, it must be accepted. No other parameters should be used to also assess it. And again, the fact that we do not have equivalent word for music does not mean the concept is absent. The fact that we do not have key signature, time signature does not mean that the concept is also absent. The music we are studying today, wherever, whether Western or whatever, is what we get on stage that we bring to the classroom, and that becomes our theory. So I'm just adding that to also support you, sir. But again, on the issue of curriculum development, you will see that the curriculum development we are talking about is just minimum standard. Whatever thing LUC gives, whatever thing anybody gives, is minimum standard. The issue has to do with who are people handling the curricula now. McKinsey is about 80-something years old. I don't know if SK knows him, but I'm sure Ayorinde knows him very well. Mr. Oretimehin, McKinsey can beat you when it comes to creativity. As old as he is my witness here. So it's not the issue of age, it's the issue of activities. You will beat him. We will tell that we beat him when it comes to technology. But when it comes to creativity on stage, we beat everybody, whether it's peers or those younger ones. But what Becky does is this. He says his theory is that you are a good teacher the day you see yourself as a student. So he keeps learning from younger ones and now builds on it with his own experience. I'm saying this because we don't with people. We really need them. Not all of them anyway, but those ones who are ready to learn from the younger ones. Few things are happening that we will not know. If you go to the University of Port Harcourt, I don't know if you know Oladele. Oladele is the only surviving member
93 years old now.
Yes, Oladele is the only surviving member of 93, yes. Rex Lawson band. He was there when Rex Lawson died. He's been there. He gives lectures at the Department of Music in Port Harcourt, recognized lectures. He's 93 years old. He's still there now. I don't know if SK has heard of Akot White.
Yes.
Akot White was okay. Yes, if you go to the Department of Music in Port Harcourt, there's a museum. The beddings he used, he was in lepers colony. The beddings he used, he said the table was used writing his music. All of them are in that department till date. Till date, they are there. What we also need to do to really encourage and make someone like SK appear is for universities. Universities are not designed as conservatories. We need to also get that one. Muslim is a conservatory life. You just go there, you pick what you want to do, and you do it well. Universities at first degree level, you pick here and there is what you pick here and there. It's only on your self-development that you can do all those things. Yes. What I know that they're doing, sorry, I'm using that university as an example. In that University of Port Harcourt, last Thursday of every month, there's lunch hour concert that universities gather in that department. Lunch hour concert, 1 hour. And you know what happens? Students create their programs by themselves. Students create their programs by themselves in various groups. Lecturers just come to us because these students are more current in what is happening in the industry. You see a group presenting a 15 musical theater, 15 minutes musical theater. I watched it. Somebody presented music and combat game. You won't believe it. Music and kung fu.
Yeah.
And he did it very well.
Sorry, Doctor, sir.
Professor,
ahead, sir.
No,
so
go ahead.
Yes, sir. Where this conversation came from was when he asked me what are the challenges and what does the future hold for musical theater industry. That was when I said that we just see people from Big Brother Nigeria or influentials, people that can use the market, he mentioned phone tools right now to add value to themselves such that people can engage them. Potential investors can invest in them. Most of the names you have mentioned.
SK, yes, you spoke.
That's where the conversation came from.
No, SK, you spoke very well. I only wish other colleagues will what you are saying. You spoke very well. Very well. Because the points you are raising are the things that are supposed to be. What stops Unilag, LASU, UI, I'm talking of Southwest now, having Austin Peters in their classroom. You have said that, which is 100%. So I'm just trying to also say that maybe 1 or 2 people are already doing it. You spoke very well.
So what I'm saying is, Benny, sir, if you can let me land in just 1 minute. What I'm saying is that most of the things you've said now, how many people in the marketing area, how many investors are aware of all this magic being performed in Port Harcourt or other places you have mentioned? We need to make it known There is a song I used to learn growing up which says, dare to be Daniel, dare to stand alone, dare to have a purpose firm, and dare to make it known. It's a song we used to sing. Anything you do that is good, make it known. That is the area we are now. Era of, like when I used to teach music history, era of patronage, the Baroque period, era of symphony, era of piano music, era of short music, era of harpsichord. We are in era of marketability now. It is the market value you put on your head that people will appreciate in the creative industry. That's where we're coming from. Perhaps some other people are doing it in last week that are not known. They are just doing it for themselves by themselves. It has to be known. It has to be global. You can't just be singing to yourself and saying you can sing. It has to be known. That's what we talked about. If you are known, then they know that you have more people that believe in you. And then they can put money on you. Okay, let's have a concert of a violinist because you're popular. For example, look at sports. When I went for a seminar in the US, the lady in White House, we're in White House talking about African music, and the lady in charge, Mrs. Callas, was saying that because of COVID-19, because of COVID-19, because of COVID-19, and after 3 days, I said, can we stop mentioning COVID-19? Then other people from other countries, because we're like 60 from other countries on that tour. And they were like, no, COVID-19 affected. I said, but look at sports. Sport have grown over COVID-19. A contact event where people fight and box and swim, and they have moved ahead of COVID-19. And we creatives, we are still killing ourselves by ourselves. Then everybody looked at me. Yeah, football is ongoing. So it's marketability. We need to see ahead of things and put market on anything good that we are doing. When we put market on it, people will respect us. It's the area we are now, sir. That's what we're saying, sir.
Thank you, SK. I was going to land, but I don't really mind your intervention. You see, where I'm going is a lot of these things happen in that Port Harcourt. I don't know if you are, Dr. Ali, you are aware that they have a lecturer who teaches arts business management. This lecturer, business management in her first degree, the university sent her to go and study diploma in music, and she just finished her master's in music now. Wow. And they do all these things, but there's a but there. That's why I say, well, let me just keep quiet to talk. The but is that this thing is just within Port Harcourt. No publicity. The highest city that the department has pursued in these areas are just probably where they have conferences and all these things. So that's why I said that you spoke very well. I was using this one to buttress what you are saying. That maybe we are another department somewhere, maybe in JOS, for instance, that they have a music and theater that I know they have, or ABU, and people do not really know what they are doing beyond the classrooms. So the problem we are now having, solution that we can also give them, is what you guys are doing at MTU. So that's why I'm going in SK.
Yes, sir.
These things may be in bits and pieces in wherever. Look at Dr. Ayorinde, what's Titus focusing on now? Environmental musicology.
Environmental musicology.
Whatever thing. How many people are really aware of it in Nigeria? But the guys in Germany is here and there. We are talking about music and environment. And it's really doing well in pioneering that area. But how do we know it in our Nigeria? The challenge begins from home. So, and I like what you said, dare to be a Daniel. If you don't dare to be a Daniel, you may not really be there. It's like business. The marketing you are talking about is business. It's a risk. Yes, you don't take that risk. If you don't fail, you cannot be a successful person, whether in business, in arts, intellectual areas too. So I'm just making this conviction that I hope those people in Port Harcourt will be hearing this, that what they are doing is fantastic, but how many people are really aware? How can they infect others?
Yes,
I'll give you a few examples. Paudili comes there, gives lecture. They are paying him sometimes when they didn't have enough budget. That one stopped. What stops us from having somebody like Olukoya, DK, Dr. Olukoya, coming to talk about funding art music? That's not stopping us from doing that. And I like the example SK gave, who started Muson. Music enthusiasts. Music enthusiasts. The Akela Williams of blessed memory. These are music enthusiasts who started it. They have watched concerts of their place, of the Rashid Gbadamosi. And the curriculum we must also move from teaching only classical art music. There's nothing stopping us from awarding BA popular music. Now, there's nothing stopping us. It's still, the industry is so big. I don't want to start giving another lecture for giving for so much time. So I appreciate you, SK. Listen to you. I'm bringing a lot of things. I'm sure the coordinator and department will have also brought some other things from what you have said for further discourse. Thank you and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Prof.
Sir, sorry, sir. If you can still hear me, if you are close to some of these deans of Faculty of Creative Arts, there's a way they can invite Kunle Afolayan, Bola Peters, and all these people just to lecture one term or twice in a term.
Well, we will do our bit. The world is a global world.
A Davido can talk.
I'm
a Burna
sure
Boy,
that
Ashake,
people like
Don Jazzy.
Yes, I know that the University of Lagos,
Jennifer,
the guys who are there, fantastic guys these days. They can do all those things because those people also have their own roles to play in this thing that will motivate people to come to university and say, "Oh, I want to study this." Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much.
So, just a quick one before inviting Mr. Ayo Ajayi and our next. So, one thing I've noticed from this, again, I'm also reflecting on my own little journey across spaces. So, what I noticed, particularly in Nigerian context, which is it's not, it's a common knowledge. The way music is taught as it's something on its own, It's not often taught in relation to the society or the market. I don't know if that's because I've studied it across places, and I can give my own personal undergraduate example at University of Cape Town or Stellenbosch University, or my studies in Germany, for instance. So as a student, I could travel on tour while still a student within terms. And my travel, my performance wherever I'm going to, will count for my studies. Will be evaluated based on that. So I could travel for performance, for conference, for exhibition. So far, it aligns with the focus of my study. I'm a musician. Okay, there's a festival in Britain, and I'm invited. I will go and perform. Nobody's going to stop me. I'm not sure if any student can dare that in Nigeria. Yeah. So that is one. So that means there's a disconnect between the essence of that training and what the kind of value that has been projected. Also, the idea that music should be music, perform, and those are good, of course. We've all been to conservatories across the world, and even in Nigeria. So the point is, the connection, the nexus, the relationship between market and the content there's always a huge fence in what I've seen around here. But elsewhere, they are together because it is by me as a student. You need to go to conferences. You need to go to exhibitions. In fact, your assignment, you go and do assignment at big halls. You need to go and do ethnography. You need to go and interview. You need to attend rehearsals. You need to perform. It's part of your work as a musician. But I don't know if that happens.
Sorry, Doctor. Yeah. This is my last trip to the United Kingdom. I was invited by one of our alumni. Ola, he played clarinet for one of these Shakespearean shows, which is still running for about 6 months. And we stood. We didn't have tickets to sit. We were like 4 other alumni invited. And when the lines were being read, almost everybody in front of me were murmuring the lines. They were all students, some of them checking their script. They were all students, they came to come and see, and they were saying the lines, and they were saying the lighting and the movement, and yada, yada, yada. So sometimes I wonder, and I asked some of my other colleagues studying music in LASU and Unilag, you never come to see an opera. You never come to Bola Hospital's production to see a musical theater production. I've never seen you at Freedom Park. I've never seen you at National Theater. Then what are you studying dance? What are you studying music? And then Burna Boy is doing show, you are not there. Simi is doing show, you are not there. And then they are doing this experience in that you are not there. Then what are you doing music for?
I think Mr. Samson Ladusu said it earlier.
Yeah.
Church, the religious factor. Let's just put it there. So let's go to Mr. Ayo Ajayi quickly. Mr. Ajayi, please, can we have you? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Olaride. And Mr. Kehinde Oretimehin, my very good friend. Thank you for a very brilliant, very brilliant afternoon.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then also thank you to MTU for bringing us this platform to share minds and to rub minds on music and theater and so many other growing concerns. First, I want to, while Mr. Kehinde was talking, he talked about something that bordered on tradition and innovation. Something about people from theater, they weren't singing well and blah, blah, blah. And I started thinking in my head that, okay, who are we as Africans? You know, because that issue actually bordered around identity and then a few other things, especially as music is concerned. And then so I started thinking about tradition versus innovation, cultural singing, as opposed to Western kind of singing, round tone. In opera, you need this very operatic round tone voice, classical singing. And then I started saying to myself that, okay, how do we distinguish between productions that are African and then production that are Western? For a bit, I still watch productions like Lion King. And I know the kind of belting that happens when that's not classical in any way. And in fact, Lion King is like a new musical theater. It's very new, very modern. If you had watched something like Umoja, for example, very brilliant performance. And then the singing was not even close to Western singing. The harmonies were not close to Western harmonies. You get it? So I think South Africa in a way, they've modeled their theater around their culture. You know, singing wise, composition wise, and so many other things. So I keep saying to myself, okay. And then I remember that in history, Fela Anikulapo Kuti, who actually did not do musical theater, a musician, Fela studied music. And one question I keep asking myself is that why does Fela backup singers, why do they sound the way they sound? Do you understand? Fela has this knowledge. If you listen to the structure of Fela's music, you know that Fela is well read, is well studied. But why does his backup singers, why do they sound the way they sound? Is there something that we are missing? This present, crop of people, is there something that we're missing? Also, I started doing a lot of studies on people like Duro Ladipo. In fact, Duro Ladipo especially. And I realized that, in fact, back then in the 60s, and then the way they sound is actually almost the same thing the Fela singers sounded, And then these guys went on a tour, several tours, not just within Nigeria. Obako so traveled wide, and then, so is there something we are missing? Is there something that is, because, well, this is also speaking to me because I also do musical theater, I write music, but recently, especially now that I'm in the West, I'm saying that, okay, these people want African music, but they don't want it the way the Westerners, they have been doing their music. They want it in a particular way. They want it the African way. Is there something we are missing? Is there something that needs to be done? And then quickly, sorry, I'm talking too much. And then I'll quickly cite what Agau said. Agau cited an English critic who said most of the compositions coming out from Africa sounds like Western compositions from the past. They are sounding like Western composition from the common practice era. It is like Africa is dragging the West backwards. And that's I read it from one of Agawu's whatever. So what is there a way? What is
is the bridge between tradition and innovation, or what level of innovation becomes too much that we lose the tradition?
All right. Thank you,
Mr. Moteto, can I ask one more question? Or I think our time is fast spent, right?
Carry on, please.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. The other one, I would have to pick between music curriculum and music business. But let me delve into the curriculum a bit. You know, the issue of music curriculum in Nigeria is I'm sorry, I just have to say that it's not we are not where we're supposed to be. You know, because I realize that we keep teaching Beethoven and Handel and a lot of these in our schools. Even the Western world, most of these schools don't teach Handel and Beethoven anymore, for crying out loud. And in our theater departments, Shakespeare, Brecht, and all those people, why are we not focusing on? I was searching for theories on Ayo Bankole's music online. I've not found one. And Ayo Bankole did a lot of work in arts music space. You know, I was looking for an in-depth theory on Ayo Bankole's music, the ones that have the pre-colonial influence and the one of even interculturalism. And then it was very scarce. So, and I'm asking myself, what are we teaching in the Nigerian curriculum? Handel and Bach and Beethoven, and then for, you know, the way the schools can actually benefit from the genius that we have around. I keep saying it, even to my Muslim people. I keep saying it that to them that most of the music producers in town, they know they have the wherewithal. The only thing they need is just the knowledge of a little theory. But what do we have in our universities? Because our curriculum, because our music is not moving forward, most of the students we get are students who dropped out from another course. So exactly. And you see, in first 2 years of university system in Nigeria, you'll be surprised that they are teaching lines and spaces. And then it is because we're not moving. Our music curriculum should be designed in a way that we can attract popular artists, for example, to come to school and study because they want to know exactly why they do what they do. Yeah, it should be structured in a way that music producers don't just see. ID Kabasa, they are the ones that will be your students. It's happening in the West.
Definitely.
It's happening in the West. Most of these universities in the West, now they have, as part of your composition studies, you're supposed to know, at least have a knowledge of a software application for music writing. Maybe a Pro Tools or a Logic or something that can enhance your music. Something that when they call you for film music, okay, come and write music for this film, you can do it on your own. Do it yourself. When they say, come and write music for this, you can produce it on your own. I think we should be looking at extending our music to that. So my last question: how equipped are the universities? Anyways, thank you. I'm just going to stop here. I don't want to take all of your time.
Wow. Thank you so much. Hand over to you, please.
All right. So, like the curriculum you mentioned is always a big problem. I remember that I was with you, was it not in May, in Watford in the UK, and we spoke extensively about Nigerian music for almost 2 days. I was in your house. Thank you for having me. And I've never said this before, I'm saying it online. This is man that introduced me to what is putting food on my table right now. It's one that introduced me to musical theater. I will forever be grateful to you, Ayodele. Thank you so much. So, for example, I was in INLAG last year on invitation. They had some other schools from Port Harcourt, from Enugu, some other universities were available. And then they spoke about me and my song, and I sat between two students. And when I was introduced, they were like, who is this man? And one of them was like, were you the one seated beside us? I said, yes. I said, sir, you're not supposed to sit down amongst us, yada, yada, yada. What am I saying? The gap between the students and what avails outside is too wide. If me, a composer of yesterday, that I'm still alive, And there is virtually no time in Unilag in last week, UNN, that people don't perform my works. I mean, there's no Saturday that I've not been tagged. People performing my black women in weddings every Saturday on social media. There's no Saturday I've not been tagged. People are performing my works. And people don't know me. Lecturers don't talk about me. The people who write the song don't talk about me. We're not talking about your bank calling that me and you did not even meet. I hope you understand. Thank God you also are your Ajayi. Do you know how many people are performing your own works too? People will argue, no, it's not the one, it's the one, it's not the one. Are you SK Oresa? I'm saying, it's my name. I will not show them my ID. Oretimehin, these are my songs. You know? So it's just the gap. And that's why myself, I go to Unilag and I give free seminar. I organize workshop in partnership with the British Council, with the American Council, and I do that. Like I said earlier on, they should invite stakeholders outside. I don't know why you, that you are producing musicals, you cannot go to Unilag and lecture. You should still have friends there. Come to MTU, talk about it. Also, I want to talk about musical theater. That's the first question when you said the tonality of Africans. You see, that's it is not the deep Swahili or Zulu. Is this Zulu, right? Zulu voice singing. It is not even, it is just part, it's just the man that wrote it. I met him in South Africa in 2019. What's his name again? I've forgotten the name of the man. The man that wrote this two-man play. This two-man play of Baba. When they are,
is it
I can't, when I remember his name, this African professor. Yeah. So you see, and the man told me a lot of things about the songs. Aside from the opening song, Ayaja, if you can still hear me, how many other Zulu songs were in Lion King? I know all the songs in Lion King. I have the score at home. I have all the pieces. Doctor, you two, you know all the songs in Lion King. Can you feel the love tonight? Yeah. Be prepared. Oh, I just can't wait to be king. Oh, I just can't wait to be king. Dun, 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 dun. It means not worry for the rest of your days. So when people want to talk about Lion King, I always tell them, aside from the opening song, which was maybe forced on them, and then they now saw the reception that people received it. We need to remember that musical theater is Oyinbo theater first. And it's also a genre of the elitist, of the elite. What I'm saying is that when you sing and the audience that are coming to listen to you are touching their ears, my own singing, thank God we're in the same class, when they say sudden outburst, proposal, it's not so Oyinbo, classical. But it has to be appealing, that's what I mean. Not to be nasal like the West, or to be so operatic, like Italians and German and French, but appealing, not just screeching all through. Because even coming back to Africa, to Nigeria, to the Yoruba that I know, it is not every time that we screech. Our griots have correct tonality, they have high pitch. When they scream, and they go up and down, and the tessitura is always wide. That's what I meant when I was talking about the tonality. Now you spoke about Fela and his backup singers. Mention one name of his backup singers. If you can hear me, mention one name. Are you still there?
Your mommy, Shion's mom.
Like, hello, Ajayi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
You have mentioned one backup singers of Fela.
I don't have that information.
Because he are no professional singers. Guy, because this thing I've attended so many minutes, and I've told my student and mentor, no, don't follow the narratives. If you are not good, nobody will remember you. Fela is a fantastic voice. I want to tell you about lady. The next line, I want to. Fantastic vocalist. You cannot remove vocalization from singing in the modern times. You cannot. Any backup singer that is not good, that was managed, you will never be remembered. You can't be remembered. Now, let me tell you something about the Western music, how they succumb to African music. During slave trade, I was not there, but based on my research, Africans started doing their own kind of music that is now gave back to pop music. and church music of musical theater of the earliest 19th century and 21st century and 20th century. Before, everybody was, you have to sing with your mouth shape, but the Africans started belting and scanting, nonsensical syllable and jazz music. Then they started church music and pop music. The musical theater was a reaction to opera, buffer, comic opera. Then from there, they started having nasality in singing. In classical music, you can't use your nose. Africans use their nose to sing sometimes. And they do it, you know, block their ears, block their nose. That is where the reaction started. If you were saying that the backup singers of Fela, they are not vocally dexterous, they are not, no, nobody knows them. They were available, and Radical Fela does not care about your vocal training. He just wanted to communicate, since the leader can sing. Do you understand me? Only Fela is known in his band. Even the saxophone. It took me a while when we were about to do Fela, the musical Calacutta Queens in Terra Culture, BAP production, that I started watching a lot of Fela's video. And I saw that most of those saxophone solos were not even played by him. They were played by his band members. The trumpet solos were played by some of his band members because they were good. Tony Allen, they were good. If you're not good, nobody will remember you. The vocalists were not good. Nobody remembers them. For example, the vocalists that were good, people remember them, people talk about them. So you cannot underemphasize the vocal dexterity in the band, in the musical theater that we do. I understand that we don't need to sound like the West, but we need to have a level of appeal. We need to appeal to our audience. Do you understand what I mean?
Thank you, Oretimehin. And then I like the clarification that you've given to it, because earlier on it was just a blanket over, okay, the way you should sound, and then, you know. So I like this clarification. It brings a lot more, you know. And then also to point out, most of our musicians that are even on the big stage now, they don't sound like the West. They just have that appeal. For example, and that's the only reason why most of them could get awards. Yes. In most of these, Angelique Kidjo, for example, she sounds nothing like the West. And then, but they respect her for it because they see something new coming from Africa.
Appealing, yes.
So yes, exactly. So I like this. Yeah. Okay, so thank you. That'll be all from me.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. I think thanks so much. Two things I need to quickly add before we close for the day. The first one is issue of curriculum. I think that is settled. But to go to the South African component you are referring, and the capacity, skill, singing. Well, one thing about South Africa that we need to know, which we have discussed directly and indirectly, which we can say is a value that connects the artwork to the public and that facilitates easy consumption of that work, is the fact that the music, the writers, and the conception of those works are based on everyday life. People bring the everyday life to the theater. So that's why if you have studied South African history or art history very well, there's something called township theater. There's a particular book by David Copeland called In Township Tonight. I think, well, some of us need to get that book. Try and get it and read it. You understand the depth of how theater is actually the everyday life, how people live on a normal day. So theater became a huge component, even a huge component of the anti-apartheid era, because it's the only medium, and through theater, they sing. They can pass their grievance to the apartheid government. So Umoja, for instance, is based on a township story.
Yes.
Yeah. So these are just things that Pipitombi, all these things. So they are based on everyday story. They are based on everyday life and what people know. People are dying, people are crying, people are marrying, and they put it on stage and they embed in it their political grievance. They pass their message through it. So they don't need to be too sophisticated. It's just their normal life they bring to the stage.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's just organized. Okay, you do this, and up to date as we speak, South African universities have sustained this culture. So if you go to university to start, you are going to study gumboot dancing. Yeah, you are going to study normal African opera, what we call opera, what we call musical theater. In South Africa, they perform a whole scene without a single Western instrument.
Whoa.
They have the kudu horns, they have the hornpipe, they have the marimba, and you're still going to get harmony.
Yes.
But not the European four-part harmony. What they get is called layered. You can hear 10 different voices, and that's why when you throw a song on a township to South Africa, you're going to hear many voices. Yeah. So they don't really work on this 4-part thing that we do. They work on the real, what we can call the African essence. It comes natural. So we talk about 4-part. No, for them it's a layer. You get one layer. So you could be 10 on that line. You're going to take different layers. And by the time you are sounding, you will definitely get goosebumps.
Yes,
definitely. So that's different. But here in Nigeria, we are civilized. We want to do like the European. That's some of the tensions we are having today. And we are trying to more yaoshoju or sholo. And when we more yaosho, when we know the thing, the ability to now convert it to the everyday life is always problematic. So today is not a day for, we'll have a different session. And there's another point again, which is more like a caveat or explanation on what we have done today. We've mentioned different schools, Unilag, GLASU. Now, the context for this mentioning today, it is to embrace collective development. It's not in a way a derogatory or in a way trying to pull down. No, the idea is to create narrative that draws references from the current practice. So if anyone from Unilag, GLASU, Ife, shout out to you, you guys are doing well. The idea is to embrace, is to problematize what we do and also look for solution also in that process. So I'm sure that is clear. One more time, I have just dropped the link to our YouTube link. Please check the recordings there. We have series of the recordings now. Again, the idea is to bridge the boundaries, blur the boundaries between scholarly idea and professional practice. If you have noticed on that YouTube page, we have had the likes of Dr. Tunde Akingbola on 2 occasions here. So that is what we do. We bring professionalism into scholarship. We bring scholarship. We take scholarship to professionalism. So this is Organ House Concert and Seminar Series again. My name is Oladele Ayorinde. I'm the convener of this series. So if you have any information, if you have any queries, you can also contact us via our social media pages. We are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, X, we are also on Instagram. Of course, you can also reach out. You can also come to the Mountaintop University, the Department of Music, the Organ House. You can always come. Also, the department is open for admission. If you want to do postgraduate studies, master's, PhD, whatever you want to do, I think the department for now in West Africa is one of the sophisticated place to do such a thing. And beyond exaggeration, I think is the most equipped for now in West Africa. So you are welcome to join the program, master's, PhD, undergrad, postgraduate diploma. We are also open for collaboration. Particularly, this project is open for collaboration. In case you are looking out to do any project like film recording, we have a state-of-the-art recording. We have experts in the house and other projects around documentation. We are there. So next week, we'll see you again next week. Please follow us and look out for our poster, for our advertisement, our material for next week. Again, Mr. Oretimehin, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
It has been an interesting journey with you. Nice ideas, some
honor.
Provocative ideas that, that like as some of us, our brothers and colleagues have mentioned, they are also critical materials that we need to go back and digest and reflect on and also create on those layers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Having me.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.